just can't. I have to say something. Like, honestly, I think it's getting a little bit too much. In regards to these aliens that were shown to the Mexican Congress, I just want to show you something before I get into it. So this is a knee, all right? There you go. That's a knee joint. Okay, see how it looks? Okay, it's a single hinge joint, meaning that it functions in one way, right? You want to open the knee, and it functions in one way, okay? That is the knee joint, all right? Let's look at the hip. Show you what the hip looks like, all right? And the skeleton here, look, that's my hip. Right, there you go. See that? That's a hip joint. See, ball and socket, all right? That is a hip joint for every creature you can ever think about, all right? You have the pelvis, right? You have the pelvis, and you have a nice ball and socket, all right? See how it looks? Okay, now, I want you to see the x-rays of these aliens and what they look like, and you tell me what you think. So these are the obviously pictures that we see a lot of, right? Of these actual structures or idols or whatever you want to call them. Now the thing is, if you look at the x-rays, all right, the problem that we see is that according to anatomy, body mechanics, the body cannot function like this. It's almost impossible. First and foremost, it appears to be, they're comparing this to the femur bone. It could be an arm bone. But something very interesting, that when it came down to the hip bone, which sort of proves it all, these are knee joints. These are probably knee joints of a child or a baby, without a shadow of a doubt. The reason being because the hip joint is a ball and socket, right? So you have a ball and you have a socket, so you can have, very flexible rotation. This is like a hinge, right? This is a hinge joint. The other thing too is there's growth plates. There's a growth plate there. There's a growth plate there. There's no growth plates anywhere else. What that means is that these bones here they're alien to the rest of the bones here. Growth plates only occur in children. As someone gets older, these growth plates close, right? You don't actually see these anymore. So it's quite obvious that these, and when you have growth plates, you have it on all the bones, not just on, the leg bones. So first and foremost, it's not a ball and socket, it's not a hip joint. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there's growth plates on these, not anywhere else. So this proves that these bones are from a child. So what they probably would have done is they probably would have got, the legs and the arms and the backs of different animals, birds, goats, whatever, right? And put in there, you see these structures in there, they call them eggs. Well, this is obviously an alien. We consider aliens, not to be amphibians, right? We consider them, to be like us, mammals, as they say, right? The concept is they walk and they act like us. But this is a part of witchcraft. This is a part of some type of sorcery or some type of belief, implanting some rocks, some structure. These are not eggs, okay? Because they're solid structures. Anyone knows anything about X-ray? When the X-ray appears like that, these are solid structures. So you're not looking at a hollow structure or a structure with fluid. You're looking at a structure with that's actually solid. Seriously, and this wasn't something uncommon, right? This is something that they used to do in previous civilizations. They used to get like random bones, put them together, and it was like a form of, like we said, witchcraft, sorcery, idol making, whatever it may be, right? And they just get a bunch of random bones, stick them together, all right? And like I said, it's not too hard. It's not too hard just to have a look at this and think, you know what? This is just a statue, all right? And they've just put together some random bones. Even, they say, oh, it's got some DNA. That's because maybe it's made from bones of animals that don't exist, that are gone extinct. Like, I don't understand. Like, people don't have a brain. They can't function. Can't understand these things. It has anyone that basic anatomy, basic anatomy, right? Basic anatomy of the structure of the body, right? There you go, structure of the body. You got the rib cage, the pelvis. This allows someone to function. So let's say my skeleton here, right? Let's say, for example, I chuck this into concrete or something like that. Thousands of years later, people probably pull this out and say, oh, look, we found an alien-looking thing, all right? Or a small human or whatever it may be. People's perception hundreds of thousands of years later is different to that time. It is obviously some form, like we said, of idle or whatever it may be. But this is the structure you need to be able to walk and function. This is the structure. Anything else, you can't. Doesn't function, doesn't work. But again, when people don't understand, you're not talking about lab testing, we're talking just from a purely structure and biomechanics and physiology. Doesn't work. So believe what you ever want to believe. But what you see there is not an alien.